What's up? What's up? It's your boy Paul P. I serve God. I'm not God. This is just my opinion. And welcome to the Nothin to Somethin podcast. We are in the building. Man, and today is a good day. You know, I actually wasn't even gonna do a live stream today. I had no idea, no thoughts, no anything about doing a live stream today. But I have to do a live stream today. I have to. Because something keeps happening. I want y'all to vibe out with me today, right? And I'm going to try to keep the same energy as people are coming in and out. Today, I really don't care if I got 5 people watching. I got to get this off my chest. I got to talk about it. Because it keeps happening over and 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 over. Again, it keeps happening. It keeps happening, man. And I'm like, why this podcast? Why? Why this podcast? Why does this keep happening to this podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna go into it, and I think a lot of you are gonna feel me when I talk about what I'm gonna talk about, right? But I'm like, it's so many other podcasts out there. But why this podcast? Why? I mean, I'm not mad at it, but I'm gonna call it out. So today, I want to talk about this documentary that just came out from Trap Lord Ross, right? I'm sure a lot of you know who Trap Lord Ross is. He's probably one of the biggest journalists in the hip hop space who do documentaries about the biggest artists or, public figures in the industry, right? And he's especially do a documentary about them when, they get locked up or they get a RICO or they lose their life. That's when, you really see him do a documentary on, right? And he just did one on Big U. And we're going to get to it. But before we get to it, because I'm going to really break it down. And I got some things that I got to say. And if people like Trap Lord Ross is watching, they probably like, what is this dude talking about? What did I do wrong? I did an incredible documentary. I mean, from top to bottom, it was a hit. It was top notch. But this podcast, which is the Nothin to Somethin podcast, continue to go through the same things that it was going through since day one of coming into this space. But like I said earlier, before I get into that, I just want to say one thing. What about them Lakers, baby? What about those Lakers, baby? What about those Lakers? Come on. Let's give them a round of applause. Go to Dallas and handle business. Let me get my ball. I need my ball today. I need my ball today, baby. I need my ball today. What about those Lakers? Come on. Go into Dallas and handle business. Handle business. You know what I'm saying? Now, it was emotional. It was emotional, Luka. It was emotional. I understand. It was very emotional. But Luka went up in there and got 4-5 on. He went up in there and got 4-5 on him. Like Jordan when he came back and wore the number 4-5, Luka came back and got 4-5 on him. He was like, you know what? I'm going to give them that number that Jordan wore when he came back to the Bulls. That number 4-5. I'm going to give him that number. And he gave him 4-5. Yeah, man. But shout out to the Lakers, man. Shout out to the Lakers. I'm just excited. You know, the Lakers been up and down for the last 4 years, 4-5, whatever. We won in 2020. So the last 4 years, they've been up and down. We couldn't get nothing going. You know, we got love for AD, but AD wasn't coming through. You know what I'm saying? He was not coming through. You know, he started he started becoming an individual. It's like, you know, I'm a Christian man, but I'm still going to say this. It was like back in the days when you was dating, it's like a girlfriend that you still love, but you're like, hey, I'm trying to move on in life. I'm kind of done. I still love you though. I still love you. But I want to move on. I need something different. I need something new in my life. That's kind of like who Anthony Davis was to the Los Angeles Lakers. An ex-girlfriend who you love that you're trying to get rid of. So no disrespect to AD. We love AD. But it was time to move forward. And man, Luka was like the woman that every man wants to marry. The last girlfriend, you always got a piece in your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, man, I remember her, man. She was cool. She was cool. You know what I'm saying? She was cool. But when you get that woman that is like, shoot, less than 30 days, you on your knee. Will you marry me, baby? Will you marry me? That's Luka Doncic, baby. That's Luka Doncic. You know? Like, we love AD, but I'm getting on one knee for this one right here, baby. I'm getting on one knee. One knee. Will you marry me? And then the last girl, she see you on Facebook. Now you engaged. She's like, hold up, I was with this dude for 20 years. Look, man, I'm not trying to even do that. I'm a Christian man. I can't be playing like that. You know what I'm saying? I know the dudes know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still loved her. You know, it's not that you didn't love her. You loved her, man. You know, you didn't want to see in fact, you want to see her win in the future. You want to see her meet her goals. In fact, you support her so much, you want her to find that special someone. Like AD, we want AD to be successful in Dallas. We don't want him to be better than us, but we want him to have success. That's like that ex that, you know, time to move on. You want her to have success. You love her. But it was time to move on. And then when you moved on, and you found that one, in less than a month, dun, 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 dun. Baby, will you marry me? That's best. Not even a month. Hey, this be happening in real life. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna go into detail, but this happened up close and personal. I'm just saying, man. I'm just trying to give an example of when it come down to AD. That's how we felt. We got love for AD, but it was time to move on. So shout out to the Lakers, man. We in third seed right now in the West. All we got to do is win one more to close it up and have that third seed going into the playoffs. Which, to be honest, I don't even think that We even gonna need to win one more. I think that all the other teams under us is gonna lose at least a game. I don't think we got to worry about Golden State no more because they lost yesterday, so we don't got to worry about them. I don't think that Clippers or Denver is gonna take this seed away from us. You got, I think, Golden State and Memphis. Memphis, another team, they playing head to head. So Memphis, I think Golden State gonna win that game. Memphis is not gonna have a chance to get the third seed. So I think we got the third seed closed up. But if we do need to win one more game, we got Houston who not gonna come strong. Because they going into the playoffs and they got that second seed sold up. And then you got the Portland Trailblazers. If we gotta win a game, that very last game against Portland, we got it, man. Come on. We not tripping. We not hurt, man. We ready for it all. We ready for it all. But all right, let's get to it. I just had to talk about my Lakers a little bit because I was excited. Very, very excited to see us go into Dallas and do our thing, right? But let's get to it because I want to talk about this, and I want us to chop it up today, right? I want us to really chop it up today. I want us to really get into it today with what I'm going to talk about. I want us to really, really go there. And I want y'all to really, really give me y'all true thoughts about what I'm about to go into and talk about, right? I think it's important. And I want to just put this out there. Everything that I'm going to say today is not out of hate. It's not because I'm mad. It's not because I'm angry. I just think it's important to call this out because it keeps happening over and over and over again when it comes down to this podcast, So like I was saying earlier, today I wasn't even going to do a live stream. But I'm doing it because of the documentary that Trap Lord Ross just put out, right? Talking about Big U and the indictment and all of these other things. Like Trap Lord Ross, like it's crazy when you see these documentaries. It's almost you might as well say these individuals who he doing documentaries about really did this stuff. It's no hypotheticals. It's no allegeds. It's like straight up, hey, this individual did this, and that. That's what you're going to take it as if you watch these documentaries. No hypotheticals, no allegedly. When you see a Trap Lord Ross documentary, you are guilty. Like straight up. Like that's what you're going to think after watching it. Like, I think this dude should do these, don't get me wrong, I like the documentaries. He do a very great job. In fact, I'm going to give him a Trap. You do a great job with these documentaries, bro. A really good job. I'm not hating. You do great work. I mean, you are the only individual that could do a video and it's 3 hours and I'm going to watch it from minute 1 to the last minute out of the 3 hours. No one else on YouTube could do that for me because I jump around a lot. But Trap Lord Ross documentaries be so good, you going to watch it all. But I got to add to that that I'm so glad that I'm not one of those individuals that he doing a documentary on. Because when you watch it, you're going to leave out of it saying, oh, that person is guilty. As guilty as it could get. That person, yeah, they as guilty as as OJ. Because we know OJ, come on, let's be real, man. I'm not hating that he got off. I'm not hating that OJ got off, but come on, let's just keep it real, man. Like, I'm not even going front. We all know OJ did it. Like, come on. Let's stop this black-white stuff. Oh, you black. You ain't supposed to say. Oh, come on, bro. OJ. If he did it, he had something to do with it, all right? Because it's just too much. Come on, blood all at his house. Come on. But after you watch these documentaries, you feel like, man, he just as guilty as OJ. So, for the people who have not watched the Trap Lord Ross documentary, right, and don't really know who he is, he is probably the biggest and most successful journalists who does documentaries. You know, and like I said, great work. And legitimately, like, if you watch his documentary, go and watch this one afterwards. Like I said, I'm not hating. Go watch this one afterwards. It's great work. I just want to make sure that when it comes down to this documentary, I'm heard, because I mean, our clips was on about 3-4 different parts. I'm gonna break it down, but our clips is all through there, right? And I mind my own business. I say to myself, I wouldn't be talking about this if our material was not in there. So, Trap, don't give me no strikes. Don't give me no strikes for reacting to this, because you got our stuff up in there, and I never met you, bro. That's our original material. Never met you. So I don't want to see no, I shouldn't see anybody who I be talking about. I shouldn't see no strikes from none of them. Because right now, everybody and their mama is using the Nothin to Somethin podcast clips. You know? And like I was saying, after seeing this documentary, you know, he did where, you know, my original content, you know, was in it. Not just that, even my face and my voice was in his documentary. I had no choice to react, you know, because there were things done that I like Trap Lord Ross. I like his work. I don't know him. I like Trap Lord Ross' work. But there were things that he did in this documentary that I can't respect. Can't respect it. And I never had an opportunity to, you know, call anything else out that he's done before, because I wasn't a part of it in any type of way. It wasn't my material. It wasn't my content. It didn't have my face on it. It had nothing to do with me. So you could just watch as a fan or a spectator, you know, or a guest to his channel, and just enjoy it. But seeing what he did utilizing my content on a Nothin to Somethin podcast, I have to react to it. And I believe that some things he did was done in disrespect. And I have to call it out. I have to. Because maybe he could fix this going into the future when it comes down to anybody else. Because he's going to always use other people's content. Always. Trap Lord Ross is always going to use other people's content. You can't do these documentaries without using other people's content. You can't. And just to be real with you all, when it comes to this Big U indictment and story and everything like that, I already knew people was using my content. I already knew it. So I gotta expect that. I know it's gonna happen. But what I don't respect is how when people use it, but don't acknowledge where it came from. See, this is one of the reasons why me and Nothin to Somethin podcast and No Jumper went back and forth. I never had no. Look, man, I gotta break this down. I gotta talk up for a second, man, because a lot of people at that time thought that I was just trying to create something with No Jumper. Come on, let me speak on this situation. Out of a lot of these podcasts that people know of, the Nothin to Somethin podcast is probably the youngest. Even though it says that this channel have been up since 2015, I didn't put up one clip on this channel until the beginning of 2023. That was when I did. Was it the interview? No. I was doing episodes from my house. In fact, it was probably the end of 2022 going into 2023, where I was doing podcast episodes at my house And then I got the studio up and running around March of 2023, right? Or February of 2023. So this podcast is fairly new in the industry. Everybody else, the No Jumpers, the Cam Capones, the Bootleg Kevs, the Vlads, probably even Trap. I think Trap Lord Ross was up since maybe 2020, 2019. I don't know. But this podcast is the youngest. And what I feel is that a lot of these other platforms try to big brother this podcast. Oh, we could do what we want to do, how we want to do it. It is what it is. But this is why we had the back and forth with No Jumper. Did I want that to happen? No. I would have loved at that time, because this podcast is totally different now. I don't really care to work with a podcast like that, right? But at that time, I respected No Jumper. I respected all the platforms, the Vlads, the No Jumpers, the Count Capones, all of them. But it felt like it was a sort of disrespect towards this podcast because we came in swinging. I didn't have no cosigns. I didn't have nobody who I came into this industry with knowing. I came in by myself, right? And started building pieces around this podcast, right? Put people around this podcast who I think would be good team members with me to grow this podcast, who I know personally. And we just went out there and started grinding. Knocking down doors, making calls, trying to get people on. Like no cosigns, no relationships, no nothing. Just hitting the pavement, grinding. Straight up. Because that's how I move. When I came into this podcast space, I said they gonna know who I am. Quickly. It ain't gonna take 5, 6, 7 years. That's what it took most of these podcasts. We haven't even been here. I haven't even been here half of that time yet. It's been, like I said, just turned 2 years this year. But we came in going hard and started to get in touch with people. You know, the Cowboys, the DW Flames, the Raffy the Plugs, the Big U's, you know, even like artists like the Tweets, the Keith Robinsons, you know, man, just, I'm telling you, we was just the Michael Blacksons. This was not through relationships, not from cosigns, just hitting the pavement hard. So when that was happening, I think that a lot of the bigger podcasts was looking like, how is this podcast with this yellow black background that looked like the yellow brick road? I get it. So, you know, it was marketing. I'm going to get into that when it come down to the background and everything. But they was probably like, how is this podcast with this yellow brick road background in a back getting these individuals that we either got or trying to get? How are they doing it? And instead of collabing with your boy and welcoming this podcast, you would just see little sneaky stuff happening. You'll see things like right after we interview somebody, I'm not going to say no names, but certain podcasts, you'll see them now getting that same person. And you'll start to see podcasts try to do exactly what we were doing. It was comedy. Like, I was one of the first ones to start pairing people up who weren't originally cool. You saw No Jumper started doing that later. Before we did it, they wasn't having people like Wax sitting with a Brick Baby and this person sitting with that. They wasn't even doing none of that. When I first brought on Cowboy and Bosco, that's when you started to see other platforms do it. Oh, well, let's bring them together and have them chop it up and dog. Which it is what it is, but no one was showing no love or saying where it was coming from. Nobody. Which is all good. It's all good. Right? So you were seeing a little bit of the big brother. Big brother trying to bully coming at us, from other platforms. To this day, I don't even know if Vlad even, I know he know who we are. He could probably deny it. I don't care. But I don't even know if he even messed with this podcast army like that after I interviewed Shirley Drew, who loved this podcast and was looking for a platform to talk about everything. And hey, if Vlad is ever watching, know that came to our lap. We wasn't even trying to look for no dang Shirley Drew. That came to us. She wanted a platform to talk about the split with her and Vlad. And hey, we did it. Right? No love lost when it come down to Vlad TV. But I'm basically just saying that to say I all these podcasts, I believe, has some type of dislike or, well, they ain't nobody, so we just gonna do what we do. They was all watching them because we were seeing little things that were taken from our podcast going to those podcasts, right? So the no jumper thing, I'm saying all that to say the no jumper thing came from, we already saw that they were copying things that we were doing. But then they talked about one of the interviews that we did, which is the Cowboy and Bosco interview. And they, without saying where that content came from, they started talking about that interview and said, hey, we should recreate that here on our podcast. It wasn't no, hey, let's bring them over with another over together with another some podcast and let's do it over here too. It wasn't none of that. It wasn't none of that. It was Cowboy and Bosco. Wow, they sat down together. Oh man, we should bring that over here. No, where it came from, no nothing. So I was already peeping out that, okay, because of our grind and how we was moving really fast in this space, there may be a little bit of hate. So I say that now I'm gonna move forward now. I say that to say we've been going through people taking our content from this podcast. We've been going through that since day one. So I'm almost like numb when it come down to it. And going back to the yellow and black background, let me talk about that for a second. And I appreciate everybody being patient and listening to the whole story, because I don't want people to just think that I'm just, I see Trapler Walls with our clips in his documentary, because I know this documentary is going to have millions and millions of views. I already know that. That's all of his documentaries do. But I just don't want people to watch this and think that, I'm just trying to say this because, I want to be connected to what Trapler Ross is doing or because he's big and I just want I want to go viral this is not done because of any of that. I have to do this for respect reasons. All right. It's just off of, I'm a Christian man. I love everybody, but I'm still to this day not going to just tolerate disrespect in my face. I just can't. I can't do that. That's not who I am. I wouldn't be Paul P if I did. So, going to the yellow and black background. The reason why I did this yellow and black background, and this is going to all connect to what I'm going to say in regards to Trapler Ross. The reason why I did it in the beginning, it was a marketing tool. I really wanted it gold, but gold didn't look good on the walls. So I said, well, let's make it bright as possible. Let's do yellow, and then I'm gonna get the little foam the little black foam things and put those on the wall to help for the sound, but I'm gonna make it look like bricks. Like a checkerboard. And I wanted to do that because I said it's going to stand out. Because everybody on YouTube who do interviews, you cannot tell them apart. You can't separate this podcast from that podcast. Unless you're No Jumper or Vlad or maybe a Cam Capone or Drink Champs or Breakfast Club. Unless you're in the topper echelon of podcasts or shows, everybody else just looked the same. So I said, I'm going to do something that if you ever take our clip, or if you ever look at this podcast, you're going to know exactly where that clip came from if you see it, even if the person do not shout you out or say your name. And guess what? That's what started to happen. That's what made this podcast quickly. Day one, getting calls from everybody. You know they using your clip. You know they using your clip. You know they using your clip. Because it's easy to see. You don't got to have our name on it. You don't got to have nothing. You're going to know that this came from the Nothin to Some podcast because nobody else got this yellow and black checkerboard looking background behind them. Nobody. You can't make this up. You can't imitate it. You can't. It's impossible. Right? So now going to Trap Lord Ross documentary, I already knew when I saw this documentary loaded up on YouTube, I already knew, our clips are going to be involved in this documentary. I mean, we were in the indictment. It's all type of big U clips out there talking about checking in and whack and stuff like that. That's floating everywhere. Everybody's reacting to it. It's everywhere. And it is what it is. Like, now I could have been and shut this down. Trust me. But sometimes you got to lose something to gain more, right? You got to give something to get something. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to report this to YouTube. I'm not going to do, because I remember back in the days when I used to listen to Kevin Samuels and people used to take his stuff. He'll say, I'm coming for everybody. Everybody I'm going to get paid. Everybody getting it for taking my clips. I was the total opposite. I said, nah, I'm cool with it. I'm not hurting for money. I'm not tripping, because when it comes down to this podcast, whatever you do with the clip, people gonna know where it came from because the background is so rare. They don't even got to know me. They're gonna know that, okay, I know this podcast because of that background. I know who it is. So I knew that we were going to be in Trap Lord Ross's documentary. But one thing that I wanted to watch, I wanted to look at this documentary, which I watched it from minute 1 to I think it's like 2 hours and it's almost 3 hours. It's almost a 3-hour documentary. I watched the entire thing. I said, I'm watching for one thing because, look, I already know how Trap Lord Ross do these documentaries. In fact, to be honest, I felt kind of bad for Big U because I'm like, when Trap Lord Ross do these documentaries, man, it's going to make you look even worse than what it already looks. It's not a good thing when Trap Lord Ross do a documentary about you. I'm just saying, I love watching them. I'm sure we see millions of people love watching them, but it's not the greatest thing. Because law enforcement is going to be on you if they not already on you. And that's not even including the streets who now won't, smoke, who didn't want to smoke before after seeing it. So that was one thing that I was thinking, like, this is not going to be good for Big U. Another thing that I wanted to look for was when he plays our clips, is he going to acknowledge where it came from? Or is he going to do what a lot of other big platforms did when they were utilizing our clips? And I'm not just saying this, man. Like I say, from day one, we mind our own business. We would have loved to have relationships with some of these other platforms. We mind our own business. We don't bother nobody. I don't even be really reacting to other people's stuff. I react to news videos and stuff like that. I don't really react to other content creators' material because they work hard for that material. And if I do, I always shout them out. That's just respect. That's just off of the respect. Always shout them out. But since day one, we've been going through this thing where these platforms have played a video almost as if it's their video and start talking about it. The other day, academics did the same thing. I'm not about to pull up his because I know for sure, which is weird because he's looking at other people's stuff, but I know for sure I'm going to get a strike if I pull up something from academics. I don't know what kind of connection he got with YouTube. I have no idea. But you get a strike if you react to even 2 seconds of his or Vlad's content. So I'm not even trying. Right? But the dude did an entire live stream where for a good 20, 30 minutes he was playing a clip of Big U that was done here and talking about it. Was there any shout out of where it came from? Absolutely not. So we've been going through this. Every big platform except for Vlad. I give it to, Vlad never. Well, Vlad mainly do interviews, right? He don't stream and talk about, topics and stuff like that. But everyone else who do in this space have utilized a clip from this podcast at least one time. At least once. And now one time. Have I heard any of these platforms show respect by shouting out where that content came from? But when they use a clip from No Jumper, when they use a clip from Vlad, Breakfast Club, or whoever, they always shout them out. I don't care how new we are. I don't care if people don't like us or like this platform. I don't care about none of that. It's just off of respect because we had to work hard for that. I was working for months and months before we got that interview with Big U. That's now, let's be real, a legendary interview. That interview is going to be here long after I'm gone. When it's talking about the history of Los Angeles. Right? Because let's be real, Big U probably would never, ever do another podcast again. And I'm not just talking about me, anybody. If he do, hey, I would love to cover anything Big U got to say. I got nothing but respect for Big U. I've been saying that since day one. I don't care how nobody feel. I respect Big U. Highly. I explained why and all of that in the live stream yesterday. I don't care how nobody feel about that. I respect them. And I pray for Big U every day when it come down to this indictment because I believe in my heart that a lot of this stuff is being overly fabricated. Do I know the truth behind a lot of it? No, I don't. I'm just saying what I feel from knowing who he is, from meeting him and also seeing how he's there for the city, his kids, the kids out here, starting the programs and stuff like that. Like, I believe the dude did really change his life. And it sucks to have an individual like him be taken away from the streets of LA, knowing that we need individuals like him out here, period. And is he perfect? No, I'm not perfect. You not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I don't think that people should be judging the dude until he have his opportunity to go to court and prove his innocence. Give him that opportunity. Right? But going back to what I was saying, I worked hard for that interview. I worked really hard and spent a lot of time and effort preparing for that interview. That's why it's good enough to where people take those clips. My platform is not the only platform that Big U came on. He went on a lot of other platforms. But the things that people want to talk about was said on this podcast. That was just me being prepared. But nobody's showing love to that. They not understand it. You think that the dude just came here and said, cut the mic on. Get out my way. I got a lot to say. Cut the mic on and get out my way. Y'all think that he came here and just did that? Y'all really think that he just came here and said, get out my way? I got a lot to say. Is that what y'all believe? Man, and another. That was me being prepared, man. That was me being ready, man. Ready for anything, ready for the moment. Because you get one shot with a lot of these individuals. But I knew this could be legendary. I got to be ready for it. So I worked hard for it. And also, I rescheduled it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times before he finally came. So I just had to be ready. I made sure I didn't schedule no other interviews from the time frame that we first thought he was coming till when we finally got him, because I didn't want nothing to come in the middle of when he do end up coming, there's no one here. I didn't want nothing to come in the middle of that. I wanted to make sure we were prepared and ready. And it worked. So you think now I'm going to sit back and not say nothing after knowing the hard work that I put to get him to come here, and now seeing everybody out here playing our clips over and over again, which is cool, but not even shouting it out, man. Y'all out y'all mind, man. If y'all think I'm not gonna say nothing, come on. Y'all are tripping. Like, y'all can sit here all day and all night and say, well, oh, Bobby, you just trying to go viral. Oh, you just trying to find something to talk about. Oh, you just hating. Are y'all out y'all mind for real, for real? For real, for real. No, I have to. I have to do this. Period. Straight up. Straight up, man. It's just off of respect. Looking at it's just off of respect. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do today, let me see. Before we get to that, let me see. Cause let me see. Y'all know I always like to show love and respect. He talked about respect. I always like to show love to the individuals that before we get to the Trap Lord Ross, documentary, which I'm not going to play the whole thing. So anybody that's here to watch the whole thing, it's his work. If you want to watch the whole documentary, go to his platform. I'm here to talk about and show 3 specific parts, which he bet not give me a strike for it because it's our content, brother. I bet not see no strike from reacting to certain parts of this Trap Lord Ross documentary, right? But okay, I just want to play show a couple of the chat messages. Yolanda Blackshear, what up? How you doing, Yolanda? Hello back to you as well. Appreciate the message. Jim Dysphorgus. I honestly think Wack is scared of Big U. Ooh, Jimma, you coming in pretty strong. You know more about this than I probably know. But yeah, they got a little thing going on, man. Which if you watch the documentary, that Trap Lord Ross. In fact, you don't got to watch that documentary. People who know of Big U and Wack know that there's, they were really cool at one point in time. And as Trap Lord Ross documentary would explain, some things happened that, made them start becoming enemies, Appreciate it though, Gemma. John Morris, what's up, John? Ain't it crazy how they give people dealing drugs life sentences, but give literal murderers 15 to 20? You know what, John? I don't have a lot of trust in the legal system. So I don't really think, to me, it's not too many things that they do that's legit and right in my eyes anyways. I respect the legal system. But do I like the league? I respect it because it's the system that God put in place. Okay, so I do respect it. I respect the legal system, but I don't like the legal system. It's all about the people that are controlling it, and it's the people who I think make it dirty and dishonest. And I'm not saying that that's the way it always is. I'm just saying, and in a lot of cases, when it comes down to black people, Hispanics, and individuals who come from poverty places and environments, deal with a different system than others deal with. That's just the fact. It's just the fact. So, appreciate the comment. Pamela Lehman, Trap Lord Ross always comes out with fire videos every time. That's what I'm saying. Look. No hate to Trap Lord Ross at all. Like I said, I would not want to be one of the individuals he did a documentary on, because you giving the feds and the state a lot of evidence on you that they don't have to put together themselves. And like I say, most of the time in this documentary, it don't feel like anything is alleged. It feel like this is what it is. So I wouldn't want to be an individual who he do a documentary on, but great work. He does great work. None of that stuff is easy at all. Jimmy Dysphorgus, Trap Lord Ross, but I'm a forever skip those promo freestyles. Oh, when he I had to catch on to what you were saying. Yeah, Trap Lord, that's one thing that I'll say too. Trap Lord Ross, man, the rap. I don't know if you know, man, but most people fast forward the raps. You could do without. If you take those raps out, you have golden content, brother. Take the raps out. I think Gemma got a thing. She owns something. You take those promo raps out that you be doing. I promise you got golden material. Golden. The raps got to go though, brother. Raps got to go. Sherry Helen, he seems like a legitimately great guy. I'm happy he was able to get out and enjoy his son's success. Great video as always, Ross. Trap Lord Ross have a son. Y'all be saying stuff that I have never heard of before in my life. I didn't even know Trap Lord Ross had a son. Where y'all get this stuff from? Oh man, yeah, I get this stuff from. But appreciate the messages in the chat. Today I'm also trying to read everything in the chat. I didn't get to do that yesterday. So if you got something to say it. I'm gonna read anything that's there. But going back to what I was saying, what I want to do now is I'm going to play 3 different parts of the Trap Lord Ross documentary. I think we were on like 4 or 5 parts of his documentary, but I'm only going to play 3. The first one is in the beginning, so I'm not really calling him out for that part. That's just the introduction of your video. But once you get to the second and third time he played some content from this podcast, he could have definitely said, when this was done on the Nothin to Somethin podcast, like he did for other podcasts. Whenever he talked about No Jumper, he said No Jumper. Whenever he talked about Streets TV, he said Streets TV. He did it for everyone else. I just don't understand why he didn't do it for us, which, like I say, is all good. I'm just going to call it out. A lot of these people who got podcasts out here that have millions of subscribers is not going to just big brother me. I'm going to mention it, and then I'm going to pray for him afterwards. All right, cool. Let's go on and get to this. And like I said, I'm not finna play everything. This what is this? 2 hours and 53 minutes. It's no way we're going to watch the whole thing, right? But we'll watch, like I say, a good total 10 minutes of it, maybe 15, no more than 20, so I could really break down where I'm coming from with what I'm saying. And also, too, people, I'm going to be looking at the chat. Until I fix this problem, right now, I have to mute myself when I show the video. So, if I forget because I'm in the moment, immediately, please let me know in the chat. Take it off of mute. Yesterday, I did a live stream and I was mute for an entire hour. It was terrible. I had to even give myself a punch in the face. That was on me. But yeah, I'm gonna try not to do that today, all right? All right, so the first part of this Trap Lord Ross documentary that I'm gonna play is basically the intro, where he's mentioning some things about Big U. And then you're gonna see a quick, at about the minute and 23-second mark, you're gonna see a clip flash. At the 5 minute, we're gonna start it at the minute and 23-second mark, and I'm gonna stop it a little bit after the 5:27 mark when he shows a quick clip of us. This first one wasn't really tripping about that one because it's the intro, right? But I just want to play it just to show how we was everywhere on this Trap Lord Ross documentary. All right, so, all right, give me a second. Let's go.
Big U has ran the streets of LA for decades, doing double-digit stretches in the penitentiary and developing a feared reputation as one of the city's most connected gangsters. But to the public, Big U presents a different persona, one of a reformed ex-gangster turned community activist. He started developing Options, a community-focused non-profit organization with a mission to keep kids out of the streets. Part of the GRID program, Developing Options claims that their mission is to decrease gang activity and to empower the community to strive for a safer, thriving environment for our youth. Big U would solicit donations on behalf of his non-profit and seemingly put as much back into the community as he had taken, being seen doing food drives and providing equipment and workouts for the local youths to keep them out of trouble, even coaching and commissioning for the Crenshaw Rams youth football team. Clearly, Big U was such a supportive coach in football that his own son was actually drafted into the NFL for his home team, the LA Chargers, a connection that had him and his father rubbing shoulders with music's biggest celebrities like Drake. But according to a recent criminal complaint beneath the surface, surface, Big U's persona is much darker than he'd want you to think, because he's recently been accused of embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars from developing options, not just allegedly taking the money, but using the charity as a vehicle to extort famous rappers and athletes and transferring the money to himself. But the financial crimes he's accused of are only the tip of the iceberg, as the criminal complaint would reveal that Big U was heard in private conversations recorded on wiretaps, that he was the only gangster from his generation still having people killed, and that he was willing to murder anyone who disrespected him. And according to that criminal complaint, these weren't just threats, as Big U is accused of murdering one of his son's childhood friends, a former football prospect turned rapper who he had personally coached, with the indictment alleging that Big U drove to Las Vegas on his daughter's birthday to kill the young man for wasting studio time and recording a Big U diss song. As dark as this sounds, reading between the lines of the criminal complaint suggests that this is just the tip of the iceberg, with other information hinting towards Big U having been connected to a number of high-profile murders in the hip-hop community, including Nipsey Hussle and Quando Rondo's cousin Lil Pab. The insane details about the double life of this notorious LA gangster might be news to some people, but in the Los Angeles podcast community, this has been an open secret for quite some time, with other street figures who have been around Big U jumping on the microphone and speculating on the eventual outcome of this street drama for years now. Podcasts which I too have appeared on myself numerous times, actually meeting several of the people involved in this case over the years, putting me right in the middle of the story.
So I'm here to let you know as a man, see how it feels to really be in front of the people you talking about and playing with?
No, I hear it.
It feel you like, I hear
He does that all the time.
No, he don't. No, he don't.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Man, that dude get caught in certain places. He know it. He in certain places. While you get up and go to Chicago, hell, boy.
So today, I'm going to risk it all and tell you everything I know about the secret inner workings of LA's street politics. The podcasters that have predicted this crackdown for years, the streets that have known about it for decades, but in 2025, for the first time, the feds have revealed for the whole world to see bombshell allegations against Big U that triggered the downfall of the LA's most notorious Rolling 60s Crip.
Fast forward 6 months. Big U gets arrested, this is hypothetically, for these acts.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, that interview becomes completely fair game and it's an important historical record, and like we all have to look at it and say, oh my God, loose cannon, I'm so sorry. We all misjudged you, you're a fucking genius, you were telling the truth the whole time.
FBI says that South LA crime boss Eugene Big U Henley fronted a wide-ranging mafia-like criminal enterprise.
And the Department of Justice also accusing him of murdering an aspiring rapper in 2021. Investigators say Henley is one of 18 members of the Rollin' 60s Crips charged in the federal complaint.
He has maintained the image of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture.
Justice for them.
When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in.
So this is the first one. And, you know, I got the video kind of shrunk, so I just want to show something really quick. When you put up a video of someone, let me bring this down right there for a second, where their name is even on it. Eventually, you gotta show some type of respect throughout the video. Not in the beginning, not right now, because like I say, this is the intro, right? And shout out to Nothin to Some podcast. At some point, you shout out every other podcast. That's all I'm saying. If I'm wrong, if I'm off, if I'm not making any sense with what I'm saying, please tell me. Please tell me. Like, I know many people out there is not in my position that have everybody and their mama playing their clips. I get that part. But wouldn't y'all look at a situation like this like, okay, I gotta say something, because you having platforms with millions and millions of subscribers showing our clips, but it's not giving it no recognition, yeah, it's recognition putting it on it. Yeah, I get that part. But if you're going, which I'm gonna show you guys, if you're going to shout out other platforms during your documentary, do the same thing with the one that you used a clip from them more than one time. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Straight up. All I'm saying, man. All right, so I'm gonna play some more of it, and then we're gonna go to the second part. Because, like I said, the documentary is great. It's a really good documentary. Like I said, I don't think it make Big U look good, which is kind of messed up. The dude haven't even went to trial yet. I mean, we don't even know what's going on right now. And it's already platforms like this one making the dude look as guilty, you know, as guilty as a kid trying to lie about stealing some candy. You know what I'm saying? But all right, I'm a before I go to the next part where it plays our clip, I'm gonna show a little bit more of this part right here. All right, let's get to it.
Anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. But if you don't check it in, oh well. Check your out. We're gonna check you in, all right. So you just refusing to pay your bill?
Yeah, I'm gonna pay you. I'm just not gonna allow you to videotape me as I pay.
I was bagging my victims. Closets. Yeah, I was bagging in dark places. Everything behind me, you know, kidnapping people, prison, and all that stuff. I had a crew we used to kidnap. That's what we did. We had a crew called the Body Snatchers.
And investigators say that he painted himself as an entertainment executive who's been giving back to the community with various charities, but they say Henley is a violent criminal.
Boy, you is a... I'm telling you, you gotta stop!
Funding a South LA-based charity, developing options. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar.
Hey, Nick. What you got? Justice for them.
They don't really with us until it's a problem. Then they call it, like Quando Rondo.
Yo, I'm so glad you're my friend, because all your options go to jail, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Before I turn myself in, I don't even know what to say.
Wait, that is DNA test in my brother nails.
Okay, so, ooh, that's bad work.
About Big U's alleged body, maybe?
Huh? The only way y'all know that is because you is the police, gang. Well, I'm not talking about no.
Didn't I tell you he's a dummy? Rewind.
To understand the predicament that Big U faces today, being accused of leading one of LA's most notorious gangs, we have to go all the way back to the start to understand how these gangs, and Big U, ended up running the streets of LA. Like many black families during the mid-1900s, Big U's parents were part of the so-called Great Migration, where African Americans moved from the southern states to the northern states to escape the Jim Crow laws and look for a better life. They were originally from Mississippi before making their way north to Chicago. In Chi-Town, Big U's father would allegedly get affiliated with one of the original infamous gang leaders turned revolutionaries, Jeff Fort, co-founder of one of the earliest major black street gangs in America, the almighty Black P. Stone Nation, cementing an early gang influence in the Henley family all the way back then. Big U's parents would ultimately get separated during their time in Chicago, and in 1966, his mother would move to Los Angeles shortly before his birth. The family settled in an area known as South Central, this being the area where most of the early black residents of LA would settle down. More specifically, they would stay around 81st and Hoover, and according to Big U, it was here where he would first begin to rep the Crips, the gang which was founded in South Central around 1969, around 3 years after Big U was born. Founded by Raymond Washington and Craig Craddock, the Crips then spread further west by Tukey Williams, who would found the West Side Crips.
Because in the area where we grew up at, we grew up over there, was already saying Crip, and was already saying Hoover, and it meant something different.
Big U had a very large family tree who would all move to LA, and the majority of them would eventually settle near Slauson and Arlington, to an area that would eventually become associated with the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips. But at the time, there would be earlier gangs.
We got here, the homies wasn't here yet, and then Van Ness Park didn't have no structure, nothing. And I think Big Bunchy was from Fruittown Brim. So it was like Fruittown Brim was in Van Ness Park. The 60s was on the verge of being formed, like it was just West Side Crips. And then it was West Side Crips and it was neighborhood Crips. And the neighborhood Crips was like down the line on the other side, like on Van Ness, like more towards where eventually, like, the hood took over. It was neighborhood Crips and West Side Crips.
This neighborhood is not only famous for being the home of the Rollin' 60s, but also for being one of the main locations where the classic movie Boys in the Hood was filmed. Growing up, Big U would first become part of a small local clique from the immediate neighborhood called the AG, or Arlington Gang. Led by Big U's cousin Chili Capone, the group would eventually merge as part of the larger Rollin' 60s, who became infamous around the city of LA.
We was at every party, we was at every club, we knew where every function we was there. And it was funny because dudes would be like, where y'all from? And we from the AG. They're like, man, what's that? We're like, man, it's the AG, man, ain't no what's that. Then it's like, well, where is that at? Man, it's on Slauson and Arlington. Oh, well, y'all from the 60s. All right, fuck it, man, what is it, a problem? And then they would go from there.
Big U would get into trouble with the law from a young age, and already as a kid during the 70s, he claimed to have run with a car robbing crew, eventually getting sent to juvenile detention and spending a period of time on the run from whatever he'd done in LA and going back to live in Chicago with his father. But some years later, in 1979, one of the longest and bloodiest gang wars in LA history would start between the Rollin' 60s and their former allies, the 8-Tray Gangster Crips. Sometime later during the early 80s, Big U's cousin and the leader of their AG clique, Chili Capone, would sadly be killed. Now, the more matured Big U would return to Los Angeles to seek vengeance, with Big U saying that at this time he graduated from fighting to guns and he believed that a gun could get you anywhere you need to be in life. Standing at 6'2", Big U was an intimidating sight even without a gun, and he would still excel at fighting, which was the main way that the early gangs would settle their differences. One of the infamous places where this settling of scores would take place was at the World on Wheels skate rink, which was far away from the Rollin' 60s hood, but where the members would nevertheless go to make their presence known. One particularly big brawl would make the Rollin' 60s infamous throughout LA County took place on August 1986 during a Run DMC concert in the Long Beach area, where Rollin' 60s would, according to Big U, attend purely to start a fight and establish their dominance. The fight would injure dozens of people and cause the LA Palladium to cancel Run DMC's next concert in fear of escalating gang tensions. During the 80s, the county jail would also become a familiar place for Big U as he was racking up some pretty serious charges, which according to the criminal complaint even included multiple first-degree murder charges and attempted murder of a peace officer, but it seemed that these charges back in these days would never stick. But his time in jail would also help him further spread his reputation as a fearless fighter and a charismatic leader. According to the FBI, it was during the 80s when Big U would rise to a prominent position in the Rollin' 60s, earning a reputation of a violent enforcer who was willing to kill. One article about Big U stated that he became the lead man for the Rollin' 60s and got shot 7 times in the process. And during this time in the late 80s, this was when the crack epidemic was beginning to reach its peak.
Today, there's a new epidemic. Smokable cocaine, otherwise known as crack. It is an explosively destructive and often lethal substance which is crushing its users. It is an uncontrolled fire.
Big U and the Rollin' 60s would also partake in the lucrative drug trade. They would even begin to move dope from LA to other cities such as Minneapolis, Atlanta, and Chicago, where Big U would use his leadership skills to set up shops and take over street corners and influencing other out-of-state sets that banged under the banner of the Rollin' 60 Crips too.
Okay, so let me see. So now I'm gonna go to the next part. I just wanted to just give y'all a little bit of an idea of a Trap Lord Ross documentary if you have not seen one before. Trap Lord Ross, that's why I say I give it to him. He breaks down every step of a person's history. Now, the only thing that I think that he needs to do better, which, two. I mentioned one. If you're gonna show someone else's content, tag them or give them a shout out. That's the only thing I don't like about people who do documentaries. You gotta respect the other person's content. You got to. I hope that YouTube get to a place one day to where they almost treat people who react to other people's content as like the way the music industry treat samples. If you sample someone's stuff, you got to pay for it. You got to pay the person who have the original content. I really hope YouTube gets to that place one day, because I'm going to tell you this podcast will be one of the podcasts that really cleans up if that happened. Because I promise you just stroll all around YouTube, you'll see a lot of Nothin to Some podcast clips. But I'm just saying, in the meantime, Those are the only two things that I think that Trap Lord Ross need to do better. You know, you gotta tag the individual who content you're using, and as well. Also, I didn't even say the second thing. My bad. And also, it's great content, but you gotta really find a way to stop making it seem like the individual is already guilty of this crime. Because he don't really say alleged too much or any of that. He's going down a storyline like this is what the person did and this is what happened after they did that. And it's like, it's not accurate, bro. You over here making this guy look like this guy is looking like he's like Al Capone or you know what I'm saying, or Al Pacino, and like real talk. You know, he's looking like the real life Godfather. Like in a movie. I'm just saying. You know, and you gotta have evidence to do that when you're gonna go that far. Or always use allegedly. Because you don't know what's fact or fiction. Great work, but I will not be surprised if someone, you know, him this dude up one day. I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I mean, I think Trap Lord Ross is in a whole nother country. So that's probably why he's so bold to do these type of videos. But, man, you got to be careful. You got to be careful because you're saying stuff off of what you're hearing on social media, not off of facts. Most of the time, these people have not been convicted of this stuff yet. Period. If they were, even if they say they didn't do it, but they were convicted, got you. But you're talking about stuff as if the person was convicted of it. And you're making it seem like in your documentary, you're making it seem like this really happened. So I don't like that part either, man. I think that he need to figure that part out because, yeah, that ain't cool. Let's be real, man. A lot of times, black people are way more easygoing when it come down to people of a different race, white people, you know, and things like that. Because if Trap Lord Ross was black, I don't know if he'd be able to get away with doing all these documentaries like this, man. Nothing wrong. Like I said, it's nothing wrong with the documentary part. It's not making it known that this is all alleged. I believe that's very important. All right, let's go to the next part of this documentary. Hold on one second. Hold on. Let's see, 48. 1 second. All right, we'll start it right here. All right, here we go. Really quick, too. Really quick. So this next part that I'm going to play is basically him talking about a specific clip when Big U was talking about checking in. The clips that I'm going to play right today are, besides the one I played already, the next one is him talking about checking in, and then it's another one where he's talking about whack 100. So my thing that I'm trying to show people is that when the clips flew in of this when the clips in regards to this podcast came in, there's no mention of the Somethin podcast. But when you see a clip of like a no jumper, he makes sure he says no jumper or Adam, you know, or whoever else it was. That's the thing that I really noticed in the documentary. And like I said, I'm going to call those, it is what it is, but I'm going to call it out because to me, that's disrespectful. Use someone's content, tag them, or give them a shout out. That's just off of respect, man. But let's go on and get to it.
against clubs and people expect 4 or 5 people to die. We got so many people dying over bull crap. I didn't really want to add to that. That's not the legacy I wanted to have. That was a misunderstanding, you know what I mean? Went too far. So we ended up shutting Hollywood down. We had to meet with the powers that be.
Now, I wasn't able to find any evidence or cases relating to murders that happened in Hollywood following this incident, but apparently after things reached a boiling point in the streets, the Supper Club and Big U had a meeting to try and resolve things. This ended in the Supper Club allegedly cutting Big U a check for $200,000 and doing a food drive for his community movement.
You know, we had sat down with the owners of the Supper Club. They wrote me a check for over $200,000. We used about $70,000, $80,000 to do a food giveaway, toys. It was amazing.
The Supper Club's giving all these free toys and food. They're underprivileged, right? And so I start talking to Big U, the organiser of the event. How come the Supper Club was so keen to be involved?
Well, we've been messing with them since back in, the incident we had. They want to reach out and help the community. For me, being able to take something bad that happened for me and turn it into a positive, instead of continue to let it be a negative, that's what I'm all about.
Supper Club later put out a public statement suggesting that Big U was the victim of a rogue security officer who took things too far, saying that Big U was not arrested and had no part in the violence, with club owners distancing themselves from the security that were working that night and promising that they would never book them again. Clearly, Big U was flesh and blood, like any man, and could also be caught slipping, but just as clearly from what came after, he was a formidable force in the streets who wouldn't accept this kind of violation lightly, and nightclubs would seemingly be a regular target for extortion attempts by the Big U enterprise. The 2025 criminal complaint would outline a situation where Big U shook down club owners, promising them T.I. and Wiz Khalifa to turn up to an event in exchange for 33% of the profits. These artists never turned up, but Big U demanded a $30,000 payment from the club, plus more of the profits, despite not keeping up his end of the deal, with a taped recording depicting Big U pressing the club owner and promising to tear the club up if he didn't get what he wanted, apparently vowing to bring 5,000 Rolling 60s members to destroy their club if he wasn't paid the money, and famous people weren't safe either. The criminal complaint would mention a litany of celebrities and athletes that had paid Big U a checking-in fee when coming to LA, checking in being an extortion method that out-of-town people often fall into, as they're pressured to get into contact with the local gang members, this often involving payments for protection and to not get robbed. The criminal complaint explained that checking in was a street tax that had to be paid to guarantee safety from gangs and criminals in the city, and according to the complaint, the Big U enterprise claimed control of LA and expected to collect tax from entertainers in the city conducting certain types of legit or illegal business. The criminal complaint outlined an incident where boxer Adrian Broner and his friends were part of a fixed dice game against some NBA players, who then checked in with Big U and allegedly paid him $100,000, after which Big U gathered his goons and went to confront Broner, allegedly roughing him up along with his friends for not checking in and for apparently cheating NBA players out of their money. But even as far back as 2020, people on Reddit would debate why Big U pretends to be a reformed gang member whilst also openly enforcing the checking in extortion method publicly. People knew that he was living a double life years ago, and this was an open secret in LA. Big U would even be seen in video clips on social media going to film sets where he had
See, it's almost like that comment right there. You know, like people knew that he was living a double life. It's like you going off a word of mouth. I think we got away from the time and place where people used to have to explain why they're saying what they're saying. How could you just claim someone is living a double life? When you do documentaries, nothing should ever be, this is what I think because of what I heard, or this is alleged. You know, this alleged thing is a fact. You know, the only thing that you should put on documentaries are facts. And if it's alleged, say it's alleged. But your opinion should not ever matter. You can't speak on somebody living a double life when you don't know them. That's why I'm saying it's certain things in the doc. I watch it. It's good. Like I said, it's like a great movie. You can watch a great movie that is a horror film or whatever that you don't associate with it, but hey, it's a great movie. These documentaries, they're great. But I think that he's not careful. And look, we're in a world and place and time right now where you could do whatever you want to do, even if it is gonna hurt someone else. That's the terrible thing about it, man. That's why I had to switch things up in this podcast, because I started seeing what was happening with the other platforms. And, you know, you got platforms getting people locked up for life, catching cases. You know, you look at No Jumper, you know, they got Break Baby and Loose Cannon talking to them while they're in jail, talking about Big U's case. I'm like, these dudes, what's wrong with people? People need to stay off of the internet. This stuff is serious. But this is what I always say. When I'm talking to the black community, I always say, hey, black community, you know why we get treated the way we get treated in this world? Because they see the way we treat each other. They like, oh, they treat each other like garbage. So why I can't treat them not like garbage, but not as good as I'm going to treat everyone else. So in Trap Lord Ross' case, he like, because look, think about it. None of his documentaries are about anybody outside of the black community. So he like, well, they going at each other and talking crazy about each other and you know, telling secrets about each other, whether it's true or false. So I could do my documentaries and no one's going to say anything. Shoot, they treat each other worse than my documentary. So I can say what I want to say. That should be a problem, because when you look at other journalists, past journalists, let's talk like someone like Gangland, right? Gangland. I don't know if any of you saw Gangland back in the days. I think it was on like what was it was on TV. I don't know if it was TV Land or Men's Land, Men's TV, something like that. I forgot what it was on, but I think it's one of those stations, right? But on Gangland, they never talk about things that are not factual. Now, if something is alleged, they'll say alleged. But they won't just talk about someone living a double life unless they have a clear fact and explain it. And they're not going to talk about the crimes and everything about that person without either saying alleged or giving the facts behind this crime right here was either prosecuted, or this is a crime that, you know, is in an indictment, but it's all alleged because they haven't been convicted of it yet. They break it down like that. To me, that's where Trap Lord Ross got to grow, where he got to grow. He haven't grew yet in that area, and that's why a lot of people get mad with him off of that. But nobody's going to do anything, though, man. We're just in a different world, and I'm not saying anybody should do anything to him. I'm not ever promoting violence as a Christian man. It's not about, I'm not saying what I'm saying because of that. In fact, I'm saying this coming from a place of grace, love, respect. Trap, man. Trap Lord Ross. You should respect people more. You should show more love and have more grace when you do these documentaries. I really hope that he's watching or he's, you know, he will watch whatever, because I'm going to cut the clips up and everything like that. Because now being involved in knowing the individual that he did a documentary on, I could see where he have a lot of flaws, because I'm paying attention to everything he's saying. And I'm like, yeah, he got a lot of flaws when it comes down to doing documentaries. I could see it now. And this is an area where he got to grow. Because, man, he's going to start something very, very serious if he don't. And I'm going to pray for the guy. But, man, he got to be very careful with that. But let's get back to it.
Apparently forced the production to check in with him, saying that if they didn't, he would be taking all of their equipment.
Movie production in the hood. That's how we do it, young man.
Top flight, baby. Security.
GB running this here movie set in the hood.
Come on out here.
Coming out here and checking in with GB, getting these movies done. You better know it. You know what I mean? Anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't check it in, oh well. Let's go check your. We're gonna check you in, all right. We're gonna check in all of your equipment. We're gonna check in all of your equipment.
Big U was openly the gatekeeper for LA check-ins, warning out-of-towners in numerous clips that if you choose not to check in, you're not safe, and you'll suffer the consequences, as well as saying that he too checks in when going to other cities.
I just want to make sure I'm clear when you see the clip of the podcast popping up, because I didn't hear anything, and I want to make sure y'all didn't hear anything. When he was just talking about Big U checking in and then about to show the clip, do y'all hear Nothing to Some podcast? Do y'all hear anything about the Nothing to Some podcast? That's all I'm saying. But you're gonna see him shout out other podcasts when he's showing their clips. That's what I'm saying, man. I'm not doing this video for no reason. It's for one, talk about some things on his documentary that I think he needs to work on and fix. Because to me, it looked like he's still growing. And I saw his documentaries even 2-3 years ago. Great work. And I can see they've gotten better. But this is an area where I hope he can grow in. Like I say, those two areas. Making sure you have more accurate information before you put it up. And if you do put it up, say alleged after everything. And also, if you're going to show other people's content, which you are because you're doing documentaries, shout out the person. Shout out the podcast. Shout out the platform. Because this is not your content, brother. This is not content that you got on your own. You know, especially if it's from a platform like this video that's up right now. If this is just like, oh, this is, Big U doing a video of his own self, whatever, fine, whatever. But if you're going to show clips of someone actual working, doing a podcast or something like that, man, when this was happened on this podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like, make it simple. It don't got to be hard. That's all I'm saying. But let's get back to it.
We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't check it in, oh well. Let's go check your. We're gonna check you in, all right. We're gonna check in all of your equipment. We're gonna check in all of your equipment.
Big U was openly the gatekeeper.
And I just want to say this too. That's not even true. Look. A lot of times, and I'm gonna say this because I know facts behind this. A lot of times, we say certain things on these videos that we trying to look a certain way, or we joking, or we just having fun, and people take it so serious. If there's stuff out there to where they could go, let's say something, now you being committed of a crime. People go back to these videos. Oh, see what they were doing? Like, look, man, I've done many films in LA. Many films. I don't think I've ever had one. I never had one conversation with Big U about any film that I've ever done. In LA. I'm talking about in the heart. Look, we was shooting so much. When Nipsey Hussle was murdered, we was across the street at Crenshaw High School filming. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I had to get off of that. That picture was not the greatest of Big U. But when we were filming right across the street from where Nip was murdered at, I never checked in with nobody to do a film. I did films in Compton, Watts, LA. Now I have my peoples, maybe a couple of security guards, but I didn't check in with, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, people say stuff too, and a lot of these platforms and the legal, in the law enforcement, they take it to another level. That's why I'm saying I don't think any of this stuff is going to be held up in court. I just don't. Now, I don't know about the the crimes, like I'm talking about and when I'm speaking, I'm talking about the checking in stuff. I don't think that's gonna be held up in court. With what he said on platforms, with what Trap Lord is about to play that was said in this podcast, I don't think that's gonna hold up in court. It's too much you gotta show and prove for that to be held up in court. Like I said, I've did many films. This clip right here, where Big U basically said, "Oh yeah, you gotta check." Man, I've done many films. I've never checked in with Big U. So how can you convict someone of something that is not happening on a daily basis because of a video or what was said on a podcast? It don't make any sense to me, man. Let's continue. Let's continue. It make people like Trap Lord Ross Trap Lord Ross probably just believe everything. Probably don't care because he know he's gonna make bread off of it, but he probably believe everything. He don't really know. These people don't come from the world that we come from, man. They have no clue, no idea, no thought process. They probably think that all of these individuals who he doing documentaries on are the big bad wolf. You know what I'm saying? He probably think that these individuals are straight killer gold diggers. You know what I'm saying? Grave diggers. You know what I'm saying? Like he have no idea. Come on, man. These dudes ain't Jeffrey Dahmer. You know what I'm saying? These dudes ain't even John Gotti. You know what I'm saying? But it's good content, so I get it. Let's keep
going. Come on out here. Coming out here and checking in with GB, getting these movies done. You better know it. You know what I mean? Anytime you want to do movies in the hood, just check it in. We can make sure it's done. Movies, videos. But if you don't check it in, oh well. Let's go check your. We're gonna check you in, all right. We're gonna check in all of your equipment. We're gonna check in all of your equipment.
Big U was openly the gatekeeper for LA check-ins, warning out-of-towners in numerous clips that if you choose not to check in, you're not safe, and you'll suffer the consequences, as well as saying that he too checks in when going to other cities.
When I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago wholeheartedly. I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. When I go places, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe. I know dudes right now from LA who are actual gang members who have been robbed for their jewelry, who real killers. Like who really real killers. Like if he ever find out who did that, he gonna knock everybody down. You understand what I'm saying? You just caught slipping. That's how it is. You know what I mean? And you try your best not to be slipping. And if you have the means not to, why do it? You know what I mean? And it's just sometimes it's about respecting, yourself and then trying to get home. So, I hear a lot of back and forth on that, but I don't know that it's a perfect answer other than me, myself, I check in.
But it appeared that Big U even had issues with podcasters like Gillian Wallow of $1 Million Worth of Game.
Gillian Wallow, they got a problem.
Oh, man. Y'all see what I'm saying? Right after showing the clip that was done on the Nothin to Somethin podcast, hey, it seemed that he had a with Gillian Wallow on the Gillian Wallow show. It's like he's naming everybody else. I'm just wondering if y'all get where I'm coming from. And this is not the only time you're going to see this. I'm gonna show y'all other examples. It's just, to me, it's disrespectful. If you're gonna do a documentary like this that millions of people are gonna watch, show respect and love to the platform where it came from. And don't pick and choose. Just because out of all these platforms you naming, we ain't been out as long as them, we younger than all of them, and we're not as famous as all of them, doesn't mean that you could just play our cups and not show respect and love, letting people know where it comes from. It's not cool. And I'm calling this out now because I'm already knowing when it comes down to this Big U situation, this is going to be ongoing. You already have Ack who done play some stuff. You got everybody who got little platforms here and there playing stuff. You got now Trap Lord Ross playing stuff. Only thing that I'm telling people to do is show love. Show respect. Name the platform where it came from. And this ain't even everything. Wait till y'all see the next clip I'm gonna show you. If y'all think that I don't got nothing, I should sit back and not say nothing after this next clip, man, I'm sorry. Y'all gotta be tripping. Gotta be tripping. Wait till the next one that I'm gonna play. Give it some time. I'm gonna let a little bit more flow from this. You know, I'm talking about the check-in stuff. Wait till we play the one where he's talking about the whack. I gotta point something out to y'all.
Cutting to Philly, them the only two dudes I'm looking for. I got no problem with nobody else, no beef with nobody else but Gilly and Wallow right now.
Whack 100 and Loose Cannon would both tell academics that the Rolling 60s, on the orders of Big U, once stripped Gilly and his son and sold their jewelry for $100,000, with Whack 100 also revealing that Nipsey Hussle allegedly ended up giving Gilly $20,000 back because he felt bad for him.
Man, you better ask Gilly.
Gilly, no?
No, Gilly got stripped down by the homies because of Big U.
Wait, Gilly?
Yeah, the homie Rose and them stripped.
We're talking about Gilly the Kid. We're talking about the guy with the podcast. We're talking about $1 million worth of game.
Yep. He got his son stripped down, and they stripped down Gilly.
What do you? Like for what? Like what? What do you mean? Gilly never got robbed though.
Yeah, him and his son got stripped. They stripped him in the 60s. Big U lined them up. They stripped him, took all their jewelry. And did it, came on the stage and said he did it, and get mad at me like I did it. I ain't did it. I ain't do it. I wasn't there.
No.
What mad at me for?
Gilly official from Philly, man. Gilly not going like that.
Gilly had his hands up in the mother air with his two kids. A father that couldn't protect his two kids. That's what he is. I told that, look, bro, don't be popping at me because with another saying, nigga, that from Roller 60 Crip for real. Everybody know that is. He telling you, Big, you lined your punk ass up. Now, if you got your ass robbed over there, you and your kids, he said Nipsey went over there and gave it $20,000 because he felt bad for him.
However, it seems that whatever may have happened, Gilly would repair the relationship with Big U, as they could later be seen acting very friendly with each other. But no one was safe from the Rolling 60s extortion racket. But it seemed that the biggest targets were grey market businesses that couldn't rely on the law to protect them, particularly unlicensed smoke shop dispensaries, with Big U and his henchmen allegedly running an extortion racket where they would charge protection money to a store and rob them if they didn't pay up.
All right, again, so much alleged stuff, man. Even the stuff talking about Gilly the Kid and everything. Have we ever heard that come out of Gilly's mouth? Look, man. I'm all about, if we're gonna put stuff on people, let's make sure that we have evidence that is factual. Either it came out of one of the individuals or they've been charged for it. Other than that, we gotta always say allegedly, man. That's just, look, man, like I said, I come from a different world. I come from a different place, a different background. I'm always about what's right, even more so as a Christian man, but I'm never going to be about calling people out when we don't have factual evidence behind it. And if you are going to do that because you are a content creator, you got to make sure that on the front end of that, you're saying allegedly. I don't care who talked about what on what platform or what podcast. I don't care if you highly respect that individual who talked about it. But if the person who it was supposedly done to is not saying nothing, and a person who supposedly did it is not saying nothing, and there are no charges behind it, it's all alleged. It's all alleged, man. Now, what I want to do is I want to now go to the part of this documentary that really got me. Well, this is actually the first two. I'm like, whatever. Like, I knew he was going to play some of our stuff doing his documentary, but this is the one, the next clip I'm going to show you guys is the clip that made me say, I got to react to it. Even if I get a strike because this is his work, even though he's using, you know what I'm saying, using our work to do his video. Even though that's what he's doing, I got to react to it. because not even right there he said anything about the podcast it came from. And a dude is straight up using my voice. You're now using my voice. It's not just the part where Big U is talking. You're using my voice. And you have nothing. I've never saw Trapler Ross do any of these documentaries using someone else's voice and not say at least who voice it is. Straight disrespect, man. Straight disrespect. Let's get to it. Hold on. This is what got me to react. Straight up. I'm going to start it a little. Okay, I know. Okay, I'm going to start it a little bit ahead of what I'm going to play so y'all can kind of get into the mode of what's going on this part of the documentary. Let me see. 20. Okay, cool. We'll start it right there. All right. So, again, this is the part of his documentary that got me in a place where I was like, gotta react to it, man. Like, I try not to say, I be trying my best, man, not to say nothing about none of this stuff, man. You know, unless it got to do with this podcast, I leave it alone. I leave it alone, man. I focus on what we got going on here. But when you got these big platforms that's using our stuff and showing no respect at all, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to say something about it. And I'm going to clip it up and I'm going to put it up everywhere. That's what I'm going to do. But let's go on and get to this part. So I want y'all to see, once you get to the Nothin to Something podcast clip, I want y'all to see how there's still no acknowledgement of oh shoot, it's the bro. Hold on. What up, Brody? What's up, bro? Hey man, I'm live right now, bro. What's up, bro? You I hit you up when I get up out of here, bro. Is that cool? All right, bro. I'm gonna talk to you in a minute. All right, bro. One. That was Cowboy. The bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I was saying the other day, man. You know, we chop it up. We chop it up, man. That's always my brother, forever. Always. And y'all know how it is with your brothers. You don't talk to your brother every single day. You know, you don't talk to your brother once a week. You know, my blood brother. Last time I talked to John, I think maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know. Everybody be busy. But yeah, I don't want nobody to ever get it messed up. You know, people got lives they gotta live. You know, just because you haven't saw him here on this podcast doesn't mean that that's not my brother, man. When it come down to you know, him, that's forever my brother. You know, he one of the first individuals that show love to this podcast in ways nobody else was showing love until it start to pop. But yeah, had to, you know, hey, y'all got to see that live and direct. But all right, let's get back to it. So this last clip that I'm going to show, to me, it shows a high level of disrespect. Because, bro, you played my voice. You played my voice. You showed my face. And you still couldn't say where it came from. Let me just play it, man. I don't want to keep talking. Let's just play it. All right, let's go.
Partied with the game or involved with the Rolling 60s. They seemingly feel away. I guess this Tiny Draws dude, because he said he put it on Neighborhood Grip. they feel a certain type of way about it.
Funnily enough, Brick Baby would also react to this incident too, claiming to have actually personally been there as part of that group of 60s trying to rush Wack, and making fun of Wack for escaping through the crowd and getting caught in the parking lot.
And we were still with the cop. And it was that deja vu game after that. 6-0. Shout out nigga, Magic and nigga, Black. What you gonna do? Weird. You on camera. Yeah, slapped it out. Yeah, the message was clear. You 6-0. You got pieced up. You jumped off the side of the stage. Everybody know the backstage of the Nova. You know how you got up off the stage without the fans seeing you. You jumped in between the speakers. 6-0. Stop playing. Came out the back door, seen it, thought you saw a ghost.
The beef would continue after this incident. In September, Big U would seemingly throw more shots at Wack.
We ain't cutting no grass. We ain't cutting no grass?
No, we ain't cutting no grass.
Night what?
Know about that Thunderdome.
Somebody said they pull up. Oh.
Pull up?
No, it's a female.
Well, she can pull up too. So she can come get a picture with the champ. Listen, man, I don't think y'all know this, bro. If anybody got anything to say about the big homie, cuz I'm on him. Like I told y'all before. Anybody
you better start acting like that.
Anybody got anything to say about the big homie, I'm on him.
You better start acting like that.
And then, in October 2022, Wack would explain in an interview how his relationship with Big U had gone sour, saying that it had happened after Big U and Suge Knight had contacted Wack's label, suggesting that Big U should take over all of Wack's contracts, with Suge adding that Big U was the only person in LA that Wack was scared of.
Any situation that has something to do with me, whether I knew about it beforehand or not, he was also there for me, if that's what he needed to do. The fallout, once again, the two-headed snake, here comes Suge. Get a call from my label, D1. They said, man, we really want to tell you this, but Big U came down to see us. I'm not thinking nothing of it. He has already signed to him. He said, yeah, Suge on the phone. Oh, okay. Still not thinking nothing of it. Like, yeah, man, they were trying to convince me that I don't know how they thought this could work, even if I wanted to do it, to give your contracts to Big U, and Suge is saying something about, this is the only guy in Los Angeles that you're scared of. Those words never came out of Big U's mouth. I'm not gonna put that. Came out of Suge's mouth. Oh yeah? Well, what you tell him? So I told him, man, we've been doing business with this man. He's like family. I gotta ask you to lead office. Great. So I'm kind of in the pickle. I don't know how to feel about it. So I said, all right. I waited a week. I wanted to see if Big U was gonna call me and tell me this happened. Hey man, I went down there, Suge had me go down there, said he was gonna negotiate a deal. He started saying some crazy. I had no idea he was gonna say this. This is what I'm hoping, right, here. After we got on here nothing, so I called him once. Tell a few of my comrades around me at the time, they know who they are. Well, everybody know was real close to me at the time, what happened. I even had that call too, when we addressed and got everybody on the phone. I'm like, yo, bro, you really went to my label? And, well, no, I didn't say it. Yeah, and about you said it, but you heard it being said in favor of you against me. Cause nobody could have sent me to the office saying, yo, give Wack Big U's contracts. He's there. I'm hold, go. Yo, for one, I didn't tell you to do that. Two, I'm not here for that. Three, that can't happen.
Big U would once again respond to Wack's claims, saying that he was straight up lying and that he had never even been at Wack's label office.
It come down to like the Wack situation. Is everything cool with that, or that ain't nothing you?
No, you know it ain't cool. Now I can speak on that. I mean, you would ask me that.
Okay.
I only got one thing to say.
Yeah.
This lane talks about. This is the most beautiful thing. People just lie, and it kills me is how y'all allow people, not you, the people out there allow somebody to continue to tell lies. Let me address this one. I addressed the other one about developing options. I'm gonna address this one. I'm gonna give you this one.
Okay.
One, I have never been to Alan Grunblatt's office about a deal. I just heard about this one too. For Wack 100 company, because you can't do that. If you know the music business, and I'm pretty sure you do, in the podcast business, nobody can go get nobody's contract. That's the most ridiculous I ever heard.
Wack had been active on the social media platform Clubhouse pretty much.
Like I was saying, dude played my voice, everything. Still no acknowledgement of where it came from. That's all I'm trying to say, man. Like that part was the one right there that got me saying I gotta react to it. I have to say something because this been going on since, like I say, since day one. But it's like, okay, now you going as far as playing my actual voice, and and there's nothing. Yeah, and Big U responded in this interview, you know, and then boom, then the clip. And it's my actual voice. They're like, well, that's not Big U. Hold up, that's not Big U. What do you mean? You just said Big U. Oh, okay, here Big U come. Like you not like, it's all good though, man. I don't know. I want to get your thoughts. Am I exaggerating? Am I tripping? I want to know, because to me, once I saw that third or fourth, I don't know how many times, but once I saw that last one, and now you got my voice on your documentary that's gonna get millions of views, and not respecting where it came from and the individual in it who's doing the interview, whose voice you using, by saying, in this interview with the Nothin podcast, Paul P. Blah, 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 blah. None of that. All right. But I just want to show, I think it continue. I just want to show once it gets to the I'll stop it after that. And then, you know, if you got anything to say, I'll read whatever you got to say before we end and everything. But I just want to, I think it's a little bit down the road from where we're at right now. I just want to show once it go into a no jumper situation, he makes sure that he tags their name. He makes sure that he lets you know all the players in that clip. But in not one of my clips, and used more than one. One time, all right. 2 times, it's like, all right, bro. After the 3rd time, you like, dude, you tripping. You tripping. That's all I'm saying. It's like, come on, it's just too many times. Too many times. And I want to call this out now because I know there's going to be mad people out there. There already have been, but, you know, we don't know where this situation is about to go, right? But I guarantee one thing. A lot of people is going to continue to use my clips. The only thing that I'm saying is that be respectful. That's all I'm trying to say. Dang, is that hard? All right, let me play a little bit more so I can show you show you how he tagging other people though, and make sure he letting you know who the other individuals are.
Much since the beginning, when it became a semi-viral hit during the early COVID pandemic, and eventually the app became Wack's favorite social media to use, and he would build a real business around the platform, arguably becoming synonymous with it and the main face of Clubhouse. But Clubhouse has always had a limited reach due to its strategy of being more exclusive than other social medias, giving it a much more underground vibe where news would be breaking for the first time, rather than a viral platform like Instagram where news reaches the masses. However, in 2023, Wack would start a weekly podcast with Adam22 on the No Jumper platform, giving him a much bigger reach and a perfect outlet to attack Big U.
Any truth?
Rest my case. Rest my case. I don't even want to see anymore. I saw the whole thing. Rest my case. Right after a clip of me on the podcast, it goes into the No Jumper podcast, and he say, not just the No Jumper comment on an interview with Adam22 on the No Jumper podcast. Rest my case, man. I mean, if I'm being extreme and extra, let me know. Let me know. I don't think I'm being extreme and extra one bit. I'm just showing you all something that I've been seeing from day one. And it's all good because guess what? One thing that people got to know, all these other platforms, these bigger platforms and stuff like that, I'm not going anywhere. I said that in the beginning and I'm going to say that now. I am not going anywhere. And my work ethic is unmatched. A lot of people may not know who I am now, But I've been doing this for 2 years, and every major platform on YouTube have played a clip of mine. Every one of them. Only been doing this for under 2 years. And they all know, Paul Pete, they all know. Rather they say it or not, I'm not tripping off of that. So imagine where this podcast would be in 5 years. All I'm saying. Straight up. That's all I'm saying. All right, let me see. I'm gonna read some more comments. Let me see. All right, let's read some more comments. Also, appreciate everyone who, is here checking out the podcast and everything like that. I got nothing but love for y'all. I'm gonna always, I'm gonna always ride for this podcast. And to me, it's also riding for you all who watch this podcast because of the content that we present and the work that we put in to bring that type of content to the table. I know a lot of you could see and respect and love the work ethic, that comes from myself and anybody who have anything to do with this podcast, because like I said, we started from ground zero. If you look at any of these other podcasts, they all coming from the place of already having a name. All of them. Maybe except for I don't know. No Jumper, I don't know. I know they've been doing it for No Jumper, been out for almost 15 years now. Same for Vlad. But outside of maybe them two who've just been here for a long time, mostly everybody who got a major platform came from a place where they were already popular or had mad relationships. We didn't have none of that. So that's why I point out anything that have to do with this podcast that is being disrespected from other platforms, because we had to work so hard to make that happen. So I'm not going to let no one ever just step on us without calling it out in a respectful way. Back in the days when it came down to the No Jumper situation, I may have not handled that the right way. In fact, I did it. There was a lot of cussing going on. I was angry. I was mad. Maybe even a couple threats in there. I don't know. But I'm not that same person. So it is I'm not saying I won't smoke with Trapper or Ross or anything like that. That's not what this is about. I don't want no smoke with Trapper or Ross or anybody. I just want to call out what's right. And I just want him to just show us respect. And anybody who utilize these clips in the next, I don't know, however time frame during this whole situation, hey man, just show love. I'm not gonna go to your platform and take your stuff without showing love. In fact, I don't even use other people's content, man. I just don't. I don't care to. I rather grow with the base of people who love what we doing here, and we build up together by just being myself coming to the screen. You know what I'm saying? And if I talk about a topic, I'm talking about a news topic or something, but I don't use other people's content. I just don't do that. But if you're going to use our content, man, show some respect. That's all I'm saying. All right. Logan Jones, sorry for the loss of D-Thing. Can't imagine how big Dirt. What? Logan, what you on, man? See, sometimes I think I gotta vet these. I appreciate you just saying something, I guess, but I don't even know what that means. I'm kind of lost with that one. Yeah, that happened a long time ago. All right, John Morris. Wack knows who to mess with and not to mess with. Okay. Appreciate the comment, John. Ava Brown, Wack is either an informant or eventually going to jail. Look, I don't wish jail on nobody, but the reason why I had to give that a bomb because everyone else is getting locked up and nobody talks more than Wack 100. I don't understand it. Maybe it's something that I don't know. I know a lot of people say that Wack is the police and work with the police. That's what people say. I'm gonna say allegedly. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna put stuff on people like Trap Lord Ross. I'm not gonna do that. But allegedly, the word is Wack work with the police. I don't know, man. So it's the reason why he have not been locked up for a lot of stuff that he be saying. But I don't know. So Wack put that stuff out because of the family call when they specifically told him not to do so. Oh, you talking about Wack putting information out about Big U when the family asked him not to put anything out about Big U. It was also another situation. I think the family of the young man who was murdered. You got to watch more of the documentary. I'm guessing Christian saw the documentary, the entire documentary, but it's a part where the family of the young man who was murdered, I think specifically asked Wack, allegedly, I don't remember, but asked Wack not to talk about this, and he did, which, as we could tell, Wack ain't a guy who keeps secrets, but it is what it is. Ava Brown, Wack literally admitted to putting out the info. He snitched, he dropped the stuff on the internet so 600 could talk about it. Man, y'all go hard on Wack. But it's all facts. It's all facts. This guy have been a part of a lot of the mess, dealing with all of this stuff, and he's still out here doing his thing. So, hey, it is what it is. Optimistic James, I definitely understand, and I'm not a yes man. Hey, appreciate you for understanding why I had to do this and why it was important that I did what I did today. But all love, Optimistic, all love. So Wack can lie and spin everything, but no one can talk about him. Some people just live differently. They think differently. But that stuff catch up to you. It eventually always do. Nature's Beautiful Views. He could have said your podcast, he was being a hater. And look, man, I don't know if a lot of these people, man, I find out later that they know about this podcast. I'm sure they all do, because they all, I didn't saw little. Let me just say this before I get off, man. So a couple of times, and this is months ago, maybe even a year ago, I've been on platforms like Academics when he was live, and I would say something. I think one time, at least once, I even did a donation, right? I would notice them. This was on Axe and one other person I can't remember, but I would notice that you could tell the energy change when they see my podcast name. And it will always get, if they read in the comments that sent the chat, they will always read it fast and go to the next one. So you could tell that it's something there for some reason. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no clue. So is that type of energy going around the podcast, going around the social media world? Is that the type of energy that's getting passed around when it come down to this platform? Or because this platform has had the big U's, the Cowboys and all of them on it, and stay loyal and faithful to these individuals? Is that why that type of energy comes to us? I don't know. All I'm saying is that I'm going to do what's right. And when I do see clips of this podcast being talked about, I'm going to stand on it, and I'm going to have something to say. That's it. Straight up. That's it. All right, man. I appreciate everybody, man. I'm about to get up out of here, but hey, I appreciate all of you for just sticking with it, man. I told you I was not gonna play the whole documentary. At the end of the day, it's no hate, no shade. Anyone who wanna go and check out Trap Lord Ross documentary, man, go check it out. I saw the whole thing already, and it's like I say, it's good. It's really good. I'm not even gonna front. It is really good. I just think that he should correct a couple of things, man. And from watching that entire documentary, there's things in regards to this podcast. Not anybody else. If you watch the whole thing, everybody else got a shout out, whatever. It's certain things in regards to this podcast that have to be corrected. And I'm always called it out. But all right, man. I appreciate all of you, man. Straight up. I really do, man. From the bottom of my heart, man. It's your boy, Paul P. I love you all, man. I'm out of here. Doses.